Any means I'm an attorney or nothing at all. I just want to share my perspective with you guys. Can you hear me? It's okay.
Let's,
Um, well, I will start with a question. Do we have any like Native Americans here
would you
or
be able to turn the volume up a little bit? I can't reach it.
yes,
People in the back can't hear very well.
do we have someone?
Thank you for
As
doing
a Native American or descendant of a Native American or any indigenous person?
that.
Well, it seems that we don't, right? So that means we are all immigrants or descendants of immigrants. And I just want to clarify that. And thank you for understanding my point of view. It doesn't really make a difference from an immigrant from the 1700s, 1800s to an immigrant of this era, you know. Sadly, we are facing loss, you know. I understand, and I just learned this not too long ago, that before the hard time to become a citizen at the beginning of the United States, it was just find a way to be there, and that's it. You're coming from Germany, don't take me wrong, I don't mean to offend no one, I'm just saying names. Germany, whatever, Europe or whatever, find a way to be there and you're gonna become a citizen. Simple as that, you know. So, and like I said, I learned this a couple of days ago. Long story short, what I'm saying again, sadly, laws at this point are affecting a lot immigrants, and sadly, also the atmosphere at this point, again, and I repeat myself a lot, I apologize again, it is giving us a hard time, you know. I'm a proud immigrant from Mexico, and I moved from Mexico back in 2001, just a little before the 9/11 type of thing. And I was supposed to be here just for 6 months. I don't want to take too much of my own story, but what I'm saying, after the situation, of course, this ID came legally with my tourist visa. Then you are allowed to be here for 6 months with a tourist visa, right? Long story short, I decided to stay my visa, overstay my visa, and then I become an undocumented person, right? ID came the right way. But overstaying my visa, there are two different points or perspectives. When I decide to overstay, I say, you know, I feel like I brought the law, you know, overstaying. Believe it or not, I decide on my own person to do what I can as to do good in life and try to help others regardless of skin color. That's why I decide down the road on these 20 plus years to join other nonprofits, right? Because if I like to help to do and assist, not because of money. By the way, I do own, I'm not selling anything, but I do own an outdoor facility in Fond du Lac, and it's been like that from since 2008 when I opened the doors for my customers. And it's been just word of mouth type of thing. I don't have an announce or a sign on side of my building, and it's been like that for 17 years. When you gain or earn somebody's trust, it's a bless, but to keep that trust, it's even harder, you know, because some people will say, you know what, I trust you, and that means to me a lot. Going back to the point where I said, I brought the law, let me help, let me see what can I do. Again, I find out that through another nonprofit, you can reach farther, like I'm saying, you know. So it has been easy, no, but it is a blessing, you know, to help others in any matter. Believe me, every morning I first thank God, thank you for allowing me to open my eyes, but today they let me help someone. I don't care who it is. Even if it's that person behind me, right myself to move out of the way. I just pull over, he passes, and I help him. You know, have a great day. So what I'm also though, when I make a pause, I'm thinking in Spanish. I'm trying to translate it in my head, trying to communicate with you guys, you know. But it's a great thing to do. What is going on right now, you know, I don't know how many of you know about the 287G program. Yeah. It is what I'm going to talk about. This program allows law enforcement to not to become, but to act as a immigration You know, they can put you over, and then they can request your citizenship, or you're a resident or a citizen. And sadly, that program has been growing within the state. I understand that right now it's around 14 counties. Sadly, Fond du Lac County, where I'm coming from, is one of the first counties to sign this agreement. And there are different ways to encourage this program. And I'm just gonna read a little. Like I say, I fix cars for a living. I'm not a person on the mic. But what's a 287G agreement is gives certain federal immigration enforcement power to local and state law police, who normally will not have legal authority to make immigration arrests or do other immigration enforcement activities. There are three main kinds of agreements, which is warrant service office model, jail enforcement model, and task force model. The difference is the warrant service model only gives limited powers to the local agency. The jail enforcement model gives more immigration enforcement power to the local law enforcement agency, but it's still only within the jail operation. The task force model grants the most power and effectively gives local state law enforcement officers most of the powers of immigration enforcement to the immigration enforcement agents. How these agreements get made, the 287 program requires that the local state agency apply to participate, and then an agreement with the Immigration Customs Enforcement ICE. This agreement specifies what immigration enforcement powers are granted to the local agency. Upon completing of this agreement and training of the participating officers, those officers will be able to act like us, agents within the jail or in conducting their other law enforcement activities. How do 287 agreement impact communities? Normally, local police can only stop or arrest people based on law of their states. On the 287G, designated officers can also stop, interrogate, arrest, or transport immigrants based purely on immigration violations. For example, without 287G, police can stop driver traffic violations or detain someone they suspect commit a crime, such as stealing something. Generally, police cannot legally stop or detain a person just based on immigration violations. Even if they stop or arrest a person based on suspicion of crime, they cannot legally continue to detain that person based on civil immigration violations. I'm gonna make a pause here, and you know ACLU, it is American Civil Liberties Union, and we're still learning, you know, we're still learning how we can kind of join forces and try to do as much we can. Sometimes when we are kind of divided, this morning I'm gonna make a pause and just to say something. Being part of another nonprofit, I went to help to assist to the stand at, they're gonna sell brats, burgers, you name it, in a local farmers market in Fond du Lac. I just shared with this a black Ebony Vision, it's a black community nonprofit. And I was part of them before. But I understand also that if you are in many different nonprofits, you're just cutting yourself too thin, you know, so I decided to slow down my RPMs and decide to stay with them once I think I can do more. And I'm not saying nothing wrong about other nonprofits, of course. I feel like I can do more within the Hispanic community. Long story short, what I'm trying to say, sometimes I just need to share with the president, Daisy Frazier. I said, Daisy, you know what? I feel like divided or trying to fight our own fights, and you guys trying to fight your own fights. Sometimes we are pulling on different directions. We should join forces and try to do as much we can together, you know. I understand also that every single person has his own conversations. For some people, it will be more important to take care of your own issues. But at this point, I think, like I said, if we join forces, we can do a change. I share also, hopefully in my timeline, whatever I have left, hopefully I can see a balance. You know, not balance in power, but a balance in being fair, you know. 287G is my main topic, but I just wanna say, we as an immigrants, and I'm talking in this case of the Hispanic community, pretty much we are everywhere. Sometimes we live in our own, what is it called? Bubble, sometimes, you know, and sometimes we also, know, we know that we are here, but I'm trying to be on somebody else's shoe. Well, we know that you are there, but what else? You know, well, in this case, this is my, when I'm in front of a mic, and again, thank you for the invite, and the opportunity. Until I die, my work will be educate others, educate other people with what is going on right now. Oh, and what, if we join forces, I think we can do a change, or try to protect, you know, people, in this case, who is affected, in this case, immigrants. And sadly, what is going in California, what is going on in California, and just on your skin color, you can be detained, and then that type of thing. We are in a spot where we need your help. You know, sadly, also Winnebago County, right, is here. Also, the Sheriff Department signed the agreement to be part of the 287G. By the way, this 287G program can be removed at any time if the sheriff, the local sheriff, decides to, you know, terminate the program. And sadly, also, everything is about money somehow. You know, I don't have 100% the details how that works, but if a person, it is detained, and for some reason he's free to go after whatever time of he has to spend in jail or whatever, the 287G program allows the deputy or the office to detain that person for a couple more days, and then that way ICE is able to come over and pick up that person. It is the law, and I understand, but at the same time, educating others, we can try to do the proper pressure on the chief, not the chief of police. Most of the police departments are, let's say, that is not my job, you know, but the sheriff, you know, it is, because they run the jail, right, the jails, of course. They need money, and sadly, again, everything is about money. But also because the chief of the sheriff department are elected officials, you know, that's why my goal is to educate as much people I can. I cannot go in front of, by the way, at 2 years, I become a legal resident. I was undocumented for some years. Thank you. My wife asked me, Hiram, so now that you have your green card, now that you're able to drive with your driver car or driver license, are you gonna continue doing it? And I said, my answer is, imagine how far I went without a driver license. Now that I have my driver license, I'm gonna try to go even farther. Believe it or not, that's the way I think it. Going back to the point, what I was saying is that I can, yes, but it's not my position to go in front of, I don't even know the name of the sheriff here in this county. In Fond du Lac is Ryan Washington. We have been there. Sadly, as Voces in la Frontera organizing and trying to restore driver license, that's another talking point. But, so we need to bring on board sheriffs, of course, probably Chamber of Commerce, probably the cleaning industry. I didn't say where we are, but we are everywhere. You know, construction, dairy farms. If we don't know, sometimes we don't pay attention. If you do, check who's cleaning your Targets, Walmarts, and all these type of, you know, stores, and they're Hispanics, okay? Just pay attention on that, and you will figure it out. Every restaurant, I'm not saying 100% on every single dairy farm, but let's say 98% of the dairy farms within Wisconsin, it is a Hispanic person, at least one working. What I'm saying, or what I'm trying to say, and you might know all of this already, my point is to make you understand that we need your help, okay? We need your assistance, and with these type of programs, and excuse me, eventually more counties gonna continue signing this type of program, but it can be properly removed if we make the proper pressure on sheriffs. And I don't wanna put it like that, but Voces, when it's strategically, by the way, I'm part of the board of Voces. Why I decided to join Voces, they helped me when I needed the most. I have an issue without driving, without a driver license, and I get pulled over twice. If you get pulled over twice in a period of 3 years, that's a minor crime right now, which it wasn't before 2015, but now it is. You know, if a person gets pulled over twice in a period of 3 years, you're gonna get on front of a judge, and then the judge is gonna say whatever, right? And you sentence, most of the time, it is, don't drive, you're not supposed to drive, and you can go. Sadly, what is happening in Frontera, when someone is going through that type of stuff, you get out of the door from the judge courtroom, and ICE is outside to pick you up. Before this happened in the more local towns or cities or smaller cities, it was, we can hear that on bigger cities, right? I mean, this is happening, but now it is on pretty much on my front door, and that's kind of like, again, unfair. You know, when someone commit a crime, and I'm sorry if I go back and forth, you know, I'm gonna bring the sheriff back again, but we as Voces, Voice under the umbrella of Voces de la Frontera, we do have a committee, which I'm part of it too, Wisconsin, Safe Road for Wisconsin, you know, type of thing, where we are trying to have conversation with sheriff department, with the associations, you know, the sheriff's association, police associations. Tony Gonzalez is another person like me, but he's in the Wasa area, and common sense type of things. We know that we need bipartisan type of things, you know. Also, the governor, Tony Evers, is being able to put on the budget driver licenses for all, or that type of thing. Sadly, the certain committee, I forget the name, who discussed, you know, they talk about it, they said, this is not important. You know, I mean, it's kind of like sad, but it is. We are super excited that it is there in the budget, but sadly, it's removed. Talking about the sheriff going back, what I'm saying as a coalition for safe roads, that's the proper, I was thinking about it, called the coalition for safe roads. And of course that we meet with, let's say in this case, Sheriff Ryan Washington, and I said, Sheriff, this is a good thing to support because having a driver license, I don't know how, if you know, but excuse me, back in 2007, I had my driver license back in 2007, and I believe that then the real ID type of thing came up. And sadly, money again, if they don't encourage that law, the state will not have certain money coming into the state, and well, it is what it is, I understand that, but many people was affected because driver licenses, we gather sometimes also with legislators and senators and on different parts of the state, and it made sense for them, and I'm talking about both sides, right? Both sides of the aisle, but it made sense to them. Well, what needs to be done? Well, you need to convince the rest of the state, not just, you know, me and them. Okay, let's try to do that. And if you notice, I already jumped to the driver license thing, but we meet with Chief Ryan, and I said, Chief, well, it makes sense, and we need your support to do these type of movements, and I know you guys just enforce the law. You are not lawmakers, right? And yes, we are not. Okay, I really appreciate you, but we need your input on this because probably a legislator, Jerry O'Connor and Biden, which is the senator who represents a certain area of around where we are right now, they said, yes, we will support that, but let's talk about it. And then another Senator Fine said, well, I will support a driver card. Why I'm saying this term, driver card? Because many people, and I'm saying all of them, but they are afraid or they are selling that if an undocumented person has a driver card, they will vote, going to vote. How we gonna vote? You know, at the end, I don't care if it's, you need to be registered, you need to prove that who you are, you need to prove that you are a citizen. I don't even vote, but I know that, you know. It's not, excuse me again, sometimes it's not like what they are selling. It's people who believe that that is true. It's not true. Please come on, I mean, open your eyes, you know, if that is not true. We just need a driver card. And at the end, I don't care if it's, believe me, pink, yellow, red, or green, or whatever. We don't mind, just allow me to drive. Why I go back and forth with this, once I said we are everywhere as an immigrant, or Hispanic, let's put it, I mean, we're not just Hispanics, by the way. Asian people, you know, people from Europe, people, not just Hispanics, of course, I represent all, but in this case, trying to bring up our Hispanic community. When you are going, and that was my case, by the way, you are going somewhere from point A to point B, and then you get pulled over because the cop or local law enforcement person runs your plates. I don't know if you know that, but he also says, this guy doesn't have a driver's license, you know. Going back to the point again, like if you're speeding, drunk driving, going through a red light, whatever, you're gonna get detained, you're gonna get pulled over, of course, and then you're gonna have your citation and etc. If you're just going from point A to point B and you're going to work and trying to, we are already part of the column of, not the law enforcement, the workforce. Again, I'm thinking in Spanish and trying to explain in English. The workforce, long story short, the guy didn't show up to whatever work he's doing. Why? Because he get pulled over. That type of things, I see it more like unfair. Now, once I said this about we are everywhere, people know that people is getting paid lower wages, you know, like they're paying less, and that's your own fault. No, I'm not saying this is the wrong way, but that's what it is. People, or let's say the owners or whatever, etc., they know that the person doesn't have papers, and well, he will be okay. But we are even able, or we will accept that as long as we are getting some money back to feed our families and put some food on our tables, you know, we will take care of that stuff. What I'm saying also is, we know are here, many people know we are here, but believe it or not, we are doing jobs where other people don't want to do the kind of jobs. And okay, probably many of you, I can see that you're, you know, saying yes. On top of that, I want to be just on the other side of the coin, people where you really don't understand that. Like, we are here trying to do good. Don't take me wrong. I'm not here for the people who is doing bad, like bad apples, drug dealing, sex trafficking, you know, all that kind of people. You deserve to get punished. I'm talking about the workforce people, the one who's doing their money properly, and the one are trying, like I said already, trying to do good on their lives and trying to provide, and why not, trying to send money to their home countries. I'm blessed that when I came over to, you know, to Wisconsin, I was able to bring my family along a couple months after that, through my daughter Amy, who was born, and I'm going back again, but through Amy, my daughter, she's gonna turn 24 in next Tuesday actually. We fix our status through her. When people say, go back to your country and come back legally, the first minute I step out of the United States, it's not possible to come back. If it's a small window to become a legal resident, we will take it, believe me, with probably a warranty, you know, like, yeah, you're gonna come back, but that is not the case, especially with the atmosphere right now, what is going on. Did I explain myself properly? You know, I can keep talking for hours right now, you know, but I'm just trying to, now believe it or not, though, the best story is when it comes from an immigrant who has been affected with this, you know. We do pay taxes, most of us do. Probably the people, that, not saying generations, but the people who have been coming lately, I'm not saying that they are or they are not paying taxes, but most of the people who have been here for decades, you know, 10, 20, we know how things are going on, and we try, believe it or not, to be under the radar. Even if I have, right now, my second year, I shared that I become a legal resident 2 years ago. I still look at squad cars and try to figure out, because how do you do that? Somebody asked me, well, you just get used to it, but that is not fair. Well, I know, but you have to. Most of the immigrants who have been here, first of all, I try, in my business, fixing a customer's car, I know it's a Hispanic person, how long have you been here? Well, I've been here just for 4 months. Don't drink and drive, and we're not in a home country where you can, if you get pulled over, you give it some money to the cop and he let you go. Sadly, that happened in many other countries. But we are not in a home country. Respect the law and be respectful with the snow also, because even the people with the most experience, driving record and all that stuff, we can have issues driving on the snow, right? And some people understand, some people don't, and I said, well, I did my part, But again, though, going back to the point where 287G can be stopped, or it's gonna take an effort from everybody, like I say, I don't know if I said this already, but I'm not gonna go in front of the sheriff department here in Winnebago, right, Winnebago County?
Yep.
Because it's not, I can be there, like I said, but I'm gonna have an ask for you, to say, what, we learn about this, and we can say, I think it's right, or people will say, I think it's wrong, and then we want you to step down from this program. And of course, if they will say no, and I'm not saying this the wrong way, excuse me, but it might work. Well, they're elected officials, If you're not willing to do something and that we think is wrong, well, we're gonna probably check the other person gonna run against you if he's willing to do something to stop this type of thing. My point of going back again to where we as Hispanic, we are pretty much everywhere. People can see that we are everywhere, and we are doing good. Not talking about bad apples again, but we're doing well. We're doing good. We try to be under the radar. We're not trying to do any other problems, and it's many people doing. I don't take me wrong, but I'm talking again about the working people. We need again your support, and not that every time I end trying to educate others, and I say, did you learn something this morning, this noon, this evening? Yes, we'll try to share this with others, try to share this with others. I mean, like I said, stronger, we can be stronger together. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but if some of you have a question, I can try to answer it. Yes?
So do you know when Ryan Walton is up for reelection?
I think it's coming up. I'm not sure, but I'm there, but it's coming up. And so again, of course, that someone else is gonna run against him, and there is an opportunity. And it's not just with the sheriff department, it's pretty much everywhere, like a legislator is running, or a senator is gonna reelect, or, that's what my point is, we can step in front of them and just ask. I can leave this information here, I'm sorry if I don't have other copies, but it's a very helpful, to give you a better perspective what 287G is, but that's the point.
We're handing these out, the 287G.
Yep. Do you have, yes, ma'am?
The most effective way in Winnebago County to impact this, or one of the ways, is to go to the judicial and public safety meetings that are held on the first Monday of the month at the Sheriff's Department at 6 p.m. That's where you can go and say, I want you out of 287G. The model that the Winnebago County Sheriff is using is the warrant model, which is the least impactful. Somebody has to be brought into the jail, but that doesn't mean it couldn't expand. And the other issue we have, which is a big issue for all progressives, is that we need candidates to run against these people. Candidates generally don't run for sheriff. We just don't have anybody. So that's a challenge. But again, one of the ways that you can impact is to organize and go to the judicial and public safety meetings. Again, first Monday of the month, 6 p.m., Sheriff's Office on Jackson Street.
I appreciate that comment, thank you. There's someone else, yes?
Do you know when the I'm from Fond du Lac.
Okay,
So, do you know when the Fond du Lac meetings are?
I will
We
find
could
out for
attend?
you that answer. I mean, I can leave you also my email, and if you don't mind,
Okay.
people, once you guys distribute my email, of course, if you have any other questions, I will get that answer for you.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely, thank you. Any other question?
I'm going to comment in Walpole County, they adopted, Walpole County adopted 287G, but the community organized very well. They have a meeting with church leaders, well, many leaders in the community, with a lot of pleasure. To the end, they
dropped.
Yes.
Yay.
Which county is that?
Walworth.
The worst of all is Waukesha County, just to let you know. Okay, so, what's that?
That's me.
That's you, it's not you.
I'm just here.
But yeah, I mean, again, if you don't have any other questions, thank you for the opportunity, and like I said, we are stronger together, and I really appreciate the invite, and again, if you have any other questions, like I said, we'll leave the info here, and we'll be glad to answer them. And it is my own perspective though, but one story, it impacts you a little bit. We are many other stories, you know, and we'll be, again, trying to do the best. Even on my second year with my green card, you know, yeah, go ahead.
It baffles me about the whole tax issue, how they try to hold some of them don't pay taxes.
Don't pay taxes. Okay, you know what,
But they say that some of those people don't pay taxes.
okay,
And some of those people that don't pay taxes are so underpaid that they barely survive to begin with, but until we hold everyone in this country that is a citizen, a so-called citizen.
correct.
We have business owners all over this country, all over this town, all over everywhere that
Don't pay
do
taxes.
side jobs for cash.
I know.
They have
Yeah.
employees that work for the business.
So we're
that do
running a
side for
little short, so, but people can stay later if you want to and ask some questions too, and we really do appreciate, can you stay a little bit? Excellent. But there's a couple of things here. They brought signs for immigrants are welcome here. We'd appreciate it if you would donate $10 or more to Foresight. We have the metal, to go in the ground too, under the table. And there's a hat here to put any donation you can make to Voices will be appreciated. You don't have to take a sign, but if you'd like one. Can you hold that a minute?
Sure.
They also, up here on the table it says Wisconsin Coalition for Safe Roads. Would you please take a look, and maybe if you are a head of an organization, or you could share it with your organization to sign up for this, and we'll make sure it gets to the right place. The other thing, we've been handing out the Voices about 287G. Please look into it and speak up about it. I've also been we have a half sheet of paper that Cheryl's gonna start on both sides of the aisle. It's Know Your Constitutional Rights. A friend of mine told me that whenever they eat at a Mexican restaurant, they put one of these with the tip in that little folder they give you, just as a way to help people understand you don't have to say stuff. You can be silent and how to protect yourself. Whatever ways we can do to help. So I'm part of Indivisible, Winnebago, Wisconsin. There's quite a few of us here today. Would you raise your hand if you're part of the group? Some of you are outside, I know, so we can't even see you. But thank you so much for all coming about this. And we have some of our local speakers ready to speak now. But just, we're organizing. We have rallies on Saturdays. 12 to noon by Target, and there's also one with Peaceful Patriots, another big group here in our area from 1 to 4 at Hiker Park, which is by the Pain Museum on Saturdays. October 18th is the next big nationwide rally. In June, we have the No Kings rally. We're having the next No Kings 2 on October 18th. Here it will be at Rainbow Park, which is on Oshkosh Ave, across the river from Fox River Brewery, right there. From 11 a.m. to 1. And then, of course, Peaceful Patriots has their rally right there at Hikers Park, so you just go across the river if you'd like to do it some more. Those events coming up. But get involved and speak up. Our country is going towards fascism, and I don't think any of us want that. But if our silence allows it to continue, and we are stopping a few things. It isn't just Indivisible, but other organizations too, and working in coalitions and speaking up at school board meetings, at county board meetings, at all these different places. It does matter. And but right now, I'd like to welcome Pastor Ellen Rasmussen from Algoma Methodist Church.
Thank you. It is good to see all of you here today. I am standing and I was invited to speak because for some of our siblings, some of our neighbors, excuse me, it is too dangerous to come out in public to speak because of the color of their skin or the accent they carry or the language they speak. And so I am very privileged that I can speak without fear of being targeted, and I feel that I must speak out. As Deb has shared, I'm Reverend Ellen Rasmussen. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm here to proclaim that justice for our neighbors is not optional. It is our shared moral obligation. I am an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church, and I also feel that I bring our neighbors from Bolivia with us, as the vest I'm wearing has been gifted to me from a Bolivian bishop of the Methodist Church there. You know, from the beginning of time, human beings have been on the move. Our ancestors migrated for food, for safety, for the chance to live without fear. That longing, the longing to build a better life for our children, is not foreign to any of us. It is part of what it means to be human. Across cultures and traditions, there is shared teaching. Welcome the stranger, honor the guest, care for the vulnerable. Some might hear echoes of the Hebrew scriptures. The alien who resides with you shall be to you as a citizen among you. Others may recall Jesus' words, I was a stranger and you welcomed me. And still others hold these values as human rights or simply as the moral conviction that every life carries sacred worth. However we name it, the truth is the same. We are only whole when everyone is at the table. But today, instead of welcome, we see fear instead of dignity. We see raids detentions, and families torn apart. ICE policies and our nation's laws have too often chosen punishment over compassion, walls over relationships, and enforcement over justice. And yet the facts are clear. Immigrants make up 14% of our nation's population. They contribute over $651 billion in taxes each year. Mass deportation would not only devastate families, it would cost taxpayers up to $600 billion and shrink our economy by nearly $8 trillion over the next 14 years. I'm really more of a people person, but those numbers speak volumes as well. And it is not just about numbers, it is about people, our neighbors, our co-workers, children and friends, people who deserve to live without fear. And so what do? We have calls to advocacy, relationship, resistance, and solidarity. Advocacy, call on your legislators, demand human reform that honors dignity rather than destroys families. And building relationships, share your meals, share your stories, share life with all of our neighbors, especially our immigrant neighbors, or our refugee neighbors, or our migrant neighbors, and resist. We stand up to racism, xenophobia, and any policy or practice that dehumanizes. And solidarity, use your voice and your privilege. If you can speak without fear, then speak for those who cannot at this time, but always work to see if we can get the microphone to hear our neighbors in a safe manner. My friends, justice and compassion are not the property of any one religion or party. They are the work of all of us together. Let us be people who choose welcome. Let us be people who choose justice. Let us be people who choose love. Until every neighbor is honored. Until every neighbor is safe. Until every neighbor can live into who they are called to be, sharing their gifts, talents, and graces, so that we all are a part of the beloved community. Thank you for the privilege of being here this morning.
Thank you, Pastor Allen. We so appreciate your words of encouragement and all that you're doing in the community.
Thank you.
Just a reminder that our county sheriff is up for election next year, so this would be a really good reason to be speaking out about this, right? So keep that in mind. Pastor Allen is one that did go to the county sheriff and have a conversation with him about 287G. So more of us can follow her lead. Now I'd like to welcome Father Joe Matern from Casa Esther in Amro to talk about his experience as they've been supporting immigrants for years in our community.
Greetings, my name's Joe Matern, and they call me Father Joe, and I am the founder, director of the Casa Esther Catholic Worker House in Amro, Wisconsin. As you can see by the name, we direct a lot of energy towards the Spanish speaking of the immigrants, and that started 15 years ago when all kinds of Spanish-speaking immigrants came to work at these mega dairy farms, you know. So we were really swamped, and we loved the job. And I thought we did a pretty good job and we continue to serve the immigrants. Okay, Deb called me, my good friend Deb Martin said, Father, can you come to this event? And I said, what am I supposed to do? She said, well, toss some names around. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. By the way, I'm a jazz musician, and let me just give you a little fun thing here. The heart of playing jazz is improvisation. That means you go up there with your horn. I play saxophone and clarinet and flute. You go up there and you don't have any music. You improvise. But in order to improvise well, you have to know your scales, you have to know the tune, and you have to know the chords, okay? So when I improvise like I am now, you gotta know the Bible, you gotta know the people you're talking to, you gotta have some background, and so anyway, so that's what I'm just improvising. I don't know what I'm gonna say. Just kidding. Okay, so toss some names around. Well, the first name I'd like to toss around is, I don't know her first name, but her last name is Lazarus, and you all know her because here's what she says. Give me your tired, your poor, your humble masses, yearning to break free. Did you ever hear that? Yeah, it's the Statue of Liberty. So there's a sign-up sheet someplace here, you can sign up. We're mobilizing a bunch of people to come in, and we're organizing to go to New York and take that statue down. We'll throw it into the ocean, because it doesn't apply anymore. And then some say, hey, Father Joe, you're a little crazy. This evil administration is not gonna last forever. So when it's over with, then that statue's gonna make some sense again. So let's just cover it with a big canvas. So, Statue of Liberty, because it's meaningless now with this administration. Well, anyway, that's a nasty thing to talk about, but at any rate, so another name I'd like to toss around is Edmund Burke. He was an Irish statesman and philosopher, and here's what he said. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. It's a very famous statement, I use it all the time. So we are, one of the ideas that's being tossed around a lot now during these days is the word complicity. So very dramatic in the case of Palestine. Our government, our leaders are being complicit in allowing this genocide to take place. I'm all sure you've all heard it. So, and now with regard to immigration, we don't want to be complicit. We've got to stand up and, what good can I do? Well, Dorothy Day, who started our Catholic Workers, when she was faced constantly faced with all kinds of evils and injustice, and you talk about it, and then she said, now do something. So that's what we're doing. What little can I do? Well, congratulations for being here. So I'm tossing out your name because you are to be blessed and congratulated for your involvement in this immigration issue. Another name I'd like to toss out is Christine Ortiz, who I think she was the founder of Voces de la Frontera. They had a big shindig last night in Milwaukee, I understand, and I've gone to their events, and that leadership is so powerful in throughout the state. So we toss her name out there. Let's see. Another name I'd like to toss around. Boy, I'm really ad-libbing here. I don't know where I'm going, but that's okay. The solos taking place is the Catholic Church. Talk about good men remain silent. So we cannot remain silent in the face of the evils of immigration. And so our bishops, Catholic bishops, although they're not doing enough, all right, they're doing something. So they did, the bishops of Wisconsin, I have with here their published statement from the Wisconsin Catholic Conference. It's a pastoral letter on immigration. So they were very eloquent and strong in talking about the things you just heard from the pastor here. Based in the Bible, I was a stranger and you welcomed me. The words, so that's another name I'm going to toss out, by the way. Did you ever hear of Jesus? Jesus of Nazareth. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. And underneath you can hear, woe to you who don't pay attention to the immigrant. So I congratulate and lift up and toss out the name of our bishops. They all signed it, all the bishops of the state of Wisconsin signed this document talking about when the church supports immigrants, she is not doing so to impede the lawful enforcement of immigration laws, nor to encourage illegal entry. Rather, without contradiction, the church instructs everyone to follow the law, to uphold fundamental human rights, and much more. So at Casa Esther and Amro, we're constantly approached with immigration issues. I would like to just tell one story. This happened probably a little over a year ago now, and it was a Friday afternoon around 5 o'clock, and our executive director got a call from Ernesto Gonzalez. You might know him, and he called because he says, we got a call from Catholic Charities in Green Bay, the office, and they said there's a group of immigrants from Venezuela who have landed in Appleton at the airport. And Ernesto said, we're closed at the Casa Hispana, and so they called us at Casa Esther. So we hopped into the van, went to the airport, and here's 10 people, 3 different families, who had just got off the plane. And here is quick, I'll try to be quick with their story. Venezuela has had over 1 million people leave because of horrible conditions in Venezuela. Imagine. And so here's a good family, very prosperous. In fact, Paula, the mother, she worked for the government, and but they had to leave. So they got together, 10 of them, with two little kids, and they started their journey. They had to go through Panama, and they went through the famous Gap. What's the name of the gap? Darien Gap. Oh my God! Check it out. Look at they went through that. They went through the jungle. They went to Colombia, Nicaragua. They made their way to Mexico. I don't know how they did it. I don't know the full story, how they used buses and whatever. And they made it up to, they swam across the Rio Grande. The little infant grabbed out their daddy's neck, and he swam across, and they made it across, and weren't caught. Myrtle. Anyway, and they made it to the Catholic Church's office in San Antonio. And they must have known someone at our office in Green Bay. And they called them and made a connection. And San Antonio Catholic Charities put them on a plane, picked up the cost for it, and just moved them to Wisconsin. Incredible. And that's when we came in and we picked them up, and we've been taking care of them ever since, getting them a home, paid for their getting started. And then one of them was in danger of being deported, so they had to have legal appearances in Chicago, and they came to me and said they were really desperate. I said, they need a lawyer, a law firm. So I was able, personally, I was very proud of this, able to find a law firm in Milwaukee. I think it's a famous one, I can't think of the name now. And we supplied the thousands of dollars to pay the bill, and they made several appearances in Chicago at the courthouse, and they passed. So that's just one of the stories, and we continue to serve them. And so what little can you do? You can do a lot. Your presence here. So one of the names that I want to toss out is your name, and bless you for the work you do, and it will make a difference. So I leave you with the command of Jesus. He says, I have a new commandment for you. Wow, new commandment. Love one another. Amen.
Thank you. Names, can we throw around the teacher's name from Oshkosh West, Phelps, which is a very current and active thing here in Oshkosh?
Yep, if you're willing to come to the school board meeting at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, there'll be a discussion about our teacher, last name Phelps, from West High School, that made a comment on his private Facebook page, which I read. It didn't seem controversial to me, but it'll come up as a topic, and so if you're willing to speak for free speech, that would be the place to do it. Sorry, Barb, but.
Thank you.
And I want to say, Casa Esther is having a fundraiser next Friday evening. It's at the Beckett's at the big atrium, so look online and see if you're willing. It's a great time. Father Joe will be playing, and two great bands. It's Battle of the Bands. I went last year. It's very a lot of fun. So to support the ministry that they've been doing there. Also, the ACLU of Wisconsin filed a suit in our state about the situation with the 287G, isn't it? So it's in process right now. So this is a hopeful thing. We want to change the tone a little bit, I think, but we want to do a remembrance right now of a friend of ours who is very active in a lot of our rallies and always supportive of speaking out on behalf of others. Our friend Mark Otto. And I would ask Casey, his daughter, to come and speak just a few words about Mark.
Thank you for letting me be here today. I'm coming to you from Milwaukee, and before I say a few words about my dad, just wanted to say that I have the extreme privilege to work with federal education programs and grants, and we are fighting for our lives right now. We are fighting for our students, and we are fighting for our future. And I want you guys to know that you are integral parts of the foundation upon which we are all going to build a house of equality. So please give your And I do have one name to throw around. Just one though. And that is Dr. Ronald McNair, who was an astronaut aboard the Challenger, and who is the namesake of one of our federal TRIO grants. And he said, "The true courage of spaceflight is not sitting aboard 6 million pounds of fire and thunder as one rockets away from this planet. True courage comes in enduring, in persevering, the preparation and believing in oneself." And you guys are all doing that right now, and we really appreciate it. Perfect time, moving to the remembrance. It's my dad, Mark Otto.
There's a picture, and we'll just pass it around, you can look while she's talking.
So we gather not just in protest, but also in memory of someone who stood among us. Someone who you might not have known by name, but who you likely shared a smile, a wave, or even a quick laugh. Mark Otto passed away on July 19th. Mark was the kind of person who made this struggle feel a little bit lighter. He was a good friend, he was a steadfast volunteer, and he always had a dad joke at the ready. And you've probably heard it a million times before. Mark's friendship and memory remind us that these movements and our demand for democracy are not just about resistance. It's about connection, it's about community, and it's about seeing and valuing each other in the fight for something bigger. Mark was dedicated to fighting for the people, and he held these protests and everybody here very close to his heart. And this fight can be exhausting, and this work demands so much. And in this world, the kind of camaraderie that Mark lived for is everything. So today, as we honor him, let's carry that spirit forward. Let's keep looking out for each other. Let's keep listening, and let's keep finding the courage to laugh, even as we resist fascism. Today, we honor Mark's life by living those same values together. So give him hell and fight on.
To end our time together as far as the speeches. But please hang around if you have questions for Voices. You're welcome to do that, and just to talk with each other if you like. I know so many of you, and that just makes me really proud and happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gab.
And take a sign, please.
Noon to 1 today will be at Target. If anyone would like to join us, we certainly welcome you. And then at 1 o'clock, there will also be a group at Hikers Park, which is near the Payne Art Center.
And look us up on social media. We're on all of it. Indivisible Winnebago WI. Yes. And there's actually to do sport.
I've heard of the Indivisible.
We also have some other free yard signs out the door behind me. You can
Like
just
to
take
reach out to you somehow. I don't know if
the chapter of Voces de la Frontera Frontera. But I still need a couple. You know, it's just I can't reach out to public stuff. So I can't, but that's what I'm saying. I need
some help.
yeah.
I think we'd probably be ready to help you. Yeah, we have quite a few people that are in conflict. We have almost close to 200 people on our email list. And we protest every week, and we have monthly meetings. So maybe at some point we can invite you to come.
Definitely. I mean, we can write on a piece of paper. I don't have my email in my